in my hand a little pilgrim. And this will represent the Tanks-Govern pilgrim. And this little guy is annoyed by the great moments, the memorable moments of 2022 that he feels have been overlooked, omitted in the 12 DAs. But he also wants to eat. Hello. I like to eat ribs. Is that right, Tanks-Govern pilgrim? Yes. His name is TG. Hello, TG. Hello. I like ribs. And so on Tanks-Govern, TG says, we break bread by eating ribs for breakfast and turkey, stuffing, flavored potato chips, and pumpkin donuts. This moment, I can't believe this was omitted from the 12 DAs. I was flabbergasted. I was knocked for a loop when I heard that Mraz betting his career, putting his career on the line for the Giants, did not make the top 16 moments. Are we kidding? Here, to me, is one of the defining moments of the year, the Joe Shane Brian Daboll bet.
You've also got Gettleman being terrible, but also the Giants making the playoffs if Daniel Jones had stayed healthy,
because
as if that was the only
Joe
problem.
Judge was at resurrecting things. They beat 2 playoff teams last year.
So what ends up happening in 2 years when Daboll and Shane also get the zig? What are you going to say then?
I quit the show. If they're fired in 2 years, I will quit the show.
Really?
I'm out. You could have Aiden, Connor, everything. If Daboll and Shane are fired, and for football reasons, not because one got arrested at the Cat House in Colorado. I'm talking about something to do on the field. I will quit the show. You have a 2-year clock now.
Do they both have to get fired?
Yes. If it's a clean house situation in 2 years, I will tip my cap, bring in whoever you want to bring into this chair. There's your bet. Hands clean. I'm done with this.
Aiden's definitely on this beat because he's going to report on Daboll and Shane getting fired and then report from Mraz's house. Because Mraz has to walk home.
No, it's team coverage. Aiden's at Giant headquarters. Jack's at the Mraz compound.
The big earpiece.
Sean. Quick comment, Sean. Do you regret making the guarantee 2 years ago, Sean?
Oh, no.
Raz, do you regret making this guarantee, Raz? Raz, please, Raz.
Raz, is food the only family you have left?
Police tape around the house.
Raz, what happened to your family? Did they leave already? Raz, I could be your family. I have none of my own. How does that not make one of the 12 DAs of Christmas? Mraz literally bet his career that Shane and Daboll would not be fired next season. Now, because this year's been such a surprise and a delight, they are highly unlikely to be fired next season. But still, we actually had to have the bet notarized. I actually got that written up as a contract and brought it down to the notary. I mean, Mraz, how does that not make one of the top 12 DAs, even the top 16? It did make the final 25 for the vote.
So I have to take this one. I did not vote it into my top 25 at all. And maybe that's on me. Maybe I was too close to it. But I think to that point, I think knowing that it feels irrelevant because of the Giants winning the 7 games.
That's the only thing.
Yeah. I mean, the other part is, and I'm saying this truthfully, when I made that bet, I guess because I don't think things through, I saw your all amazement and my shock. But in my mind, the reason I'm saying that is because quite literally I knew it was impossible that both could get fired for football reasons. So at the time, I must be honest, I didn't think it was a big deal until you got it notarized. Until you walked downstairs and got it notarized, then I said, wow, he's really all in on this, and I got to, am I wrong?
People were scared. People were really scared when you made the bet, and I was going to hold you to it, that you were going to have to quit the show in 2 years. And it's still in play, obviously. I mean, I don't think they're going to clean house next offseason, but it's still in play. Either way, it's the biggest set of balls on a bet of all time. You threatened or you promised to quit the entire show.
Well, and forget the promise. Your pure excitement at that possibility, I think, was really disheartening. I mean, we're looking around at Tanks-Govern. Who's the only one left here, pal? It's me.
Was he more excited or was Bilotti?
Bilotti was thrilled.
Bilotti was
he had
absolutely
something out of his
thrilled.
mind. He
Yeah,
was through the
the
roof.
feeling was mutual. But, yes, clearly.
So on Tanks-Govern, we sit back and reminisce about the great moments of the year while eating ribs. Mraz, you have heated up the ribs that I made overnight last night, put them in a crock pot for a couple of hours, then finished them in the stove. I actually ended up putting the Cosmos rub on them and then putting some rib glaze on them as they sat in the oven at 425 for a little bit.
They smelled delicious.
Yeah, they smell really good.
So we got the whole thing here. We got the turkey platter.
Yeah, the nice platter. It smells like Tanks-Govern to me.
This is the smell of Mama's traditional Tanks-Govern.
It does. And I have to be honest, as I was finishing eating those, there were a lot of what's called the animals around in the newsroom, including Peter Schwartz hovering over the microwave asking what was going on there.
Sure.
Said, we don't want you sending these back.
I'm sure. Well, okay, why don't we dish these out here, guys, and you get a rack, and you get a rack, and
EJ,
you get
would
a
you like
rack?
me to bring you a taste?
Yeah, I'll get in there at some point.
I'm going to make EJ a nice Tanks-Govern
Yeah,
plate.
okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Well, because
There
that's
you
the
go.
thing about Tanks-Govern is that the leftovers, the day after, is usually what you look forward to the most, right? Like it's the compilation of all the
I wonder,
Tanks-Govern
though,
food.
if the day after is so special about Thanksgiving, is it 2 days after that
Could
you're
be.
excited about Tanks-Govern
A
leftovers?
week later,
A
you
week-
you freeze them and then defrost them. So now, is this recipe, is this a tried and true? You've done this one before?
I have done this one before. This is a really good ribs recipe if you don't have a smoker, and especially if you're caught inside during colder winter months, you don't have a grill, you don't have to be outside. It's just slow cook a rack of ribs, have them seasoned, put a bunch of barbecue sauce in there, and slow cook the ribs for like 3 or 4 hours. You'll know when they're cooked enough to where it wouldn't be a
Thank you,
problem
Raz.
to eat them. And then finish them for the crust for the bark in the oven, 375, 400, 425, somewhere in that range, and put them in there and just eyeball them until they get the bark on top of them. That way you know they're crispy on the outside, but they're going to be softer underneath because
Yeah.
they were slow cooked.
So
in
total cook time, what are we looking at?
maybe 3.5 to 4 hours.
Okay.
4 hours is safe. Is a safe one.
I mean,
okay?
and
I made us plates, but I figured the dessert will save.
yeah. So
you're appealing to me with these because I like spares.
okay.
So these, I have a couple over here.
You have some
Yes.
turkey stuffing
which
flavored
I'm
potato chips.
very excited about.
Okay.
These are falling off, but there's good chew on them.
Okay.
Right? It's not just like pulled pork. You know what I'm saying? Where it just completely rips off the
Yeah.
bone.
Yeah.
Great bark.
Okay.
I know Guy Fieri always talks about you get that little smoke ring in there. They always
Yeah.
talk about the smoke ring.
No smoking when you do it in
Yeah.
a slow cooker.
But these are top notch.
Mraz is taking off his shirt. And EJ, perhaps you can just play that music one more time because that really puts me in the Tanks-Govern spirit. And so we here on the show are going to create this new holiday, and I'm workshopping as we go along. But I think it's the kickoff to the 12 DAs, which I'm most excited about. It just feels like it's the right thing to do this time of year, is to kind of look back, but also look forward a little bit.
Tanks-Govern Eve is a big night where everybody gets together with their high school friends and they reminisce about the good old days. I think we could do this at Bob's Bar. It could almost be like the Bob's Bar Winter Gala. Little Tanks-Govern Eve action.
I tell you, the Cosmos spread here with the crispiness because you baked it at such a high temperature after, with still the meat off the bone. Extra.
And I like my ribs dry. I don't like them,
You don't like 'em
covered
saucy.
in sauce. So these are
No,
perfect.
but the sauce, you're giving us a sauce to glaze over? Mm-hmm. Good. And shockingly, the microwave did a heck of a job of reheating these. A little even distribution.
Not bad.
This is as good a Tanks-Govern as I've ever had.
This is honestly my favorite Tanks-Govern ever, I think.
For sure.
I mean, compared to some of the others, this one's up there.
And traditionally, Denmark always plays in the World Cup on Tanks-Govern.
It is good to have a massive international sporting event happening
Yeah.
at 8:30 in the morning on a Tanks-Govern.
We've all been to the houses, right? They don't have the TV on. You missed the Denmark game. It's a lot of conversation. Then they're singing.
Denmark, I believe, has lost 6 straight Tanks-Govern matches. They always get the early game.
They did Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving.
But they always have more than 5 corners, for sure.
How are the chips, by the way? Have you had these before?
No. Oh, Mraz told me that we tasted them last year. I don't remember that.
You don't remember anything.
I don't. They don't taste like turkey. They taste like stuffing flavoring.
Yeah.
It
Seasoning,
tastes like stovetop stuffing seasoning, right?
which is fine.
They're not pulling the wool over your eyes.
But-
You know what it is.
It's a good compliment to the rib. I mean, it's the perfect side.
It actually is. It is the perfect side on a Tanks-Govern.
You forego cranberry sauce for boysenberry. Another Thanksgiving Govern favorite.
If you have any new traditions we should add to this first ever Tanks-Govern, let us know. You know, this is not a finished product yet. Kind of like the first Thanksgiving, where I believe most of it was rabbit, fish that they served, fowl, gourds, and then it turned into turkey and stuffing and football. We can add to this. This is only the first Tanks-Govern. So one of our listeners suggested ribs last week or tacos. And I thought ribs were a more reasonable ask to make the night before. They would travel better for Tanks-Govern.
Had I known, I would have brought the tacos. I hate coming to a party empty-handed.
What was it? Tandoori chicken was another big one.
It's like there's a snack, we have a main, and a dessert. I feel like there's a side.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like French fries, maybe?
Now, does Gelb make a Tanks-Govern lasagna?
No, it becomes a ravioli on Thanksgiving.
We do stuffed shells on Tanks-Govern. Thank you very much. It's our Italian Tanks-Govern.
So you can send us your suggestions at DA on CBS on Twitter. And Mraz right now is loving life. He is licking the sauce off of his fingers, wobbling to and fro, dancing to Old Ye Faithful or Rock the Faithful, as Kevin Wall could not identify last year as a Christmas song, which is now the official anthem of Tanks-Govern, Rock Ye Faithful. Mraz has 2 bones. He's licking them dry. He's slapping them together like they're drumsticks. He's got them both in his mouth right now.
Feeling a little comfortable right now.
Why would you do that?
I mean, we're not animal. We need proper Tanks-Govern napkinware. Please don't tell Rich Ackerman that I use these paper towels, by the way. He will have a canary. Took those right out of the WCBS 880 booth.
All right, well, happy Tanks-Govern, everybody.
You too.
To a wonderful 2022 and to an even better 2023. Health, happiness, and resentment towards things getting left out. That's what Tanks-Govern is all about.
Can't wait for dessert.
Celebrate your Tanks-Govern today in your own special way, and let us know how you celebrated. Tomorrow, the 12 DAs officially kicks off.